Okay, guys, welcome to the Investor's Guide of Memphis Real Estate this morning. My name is Dean Harris, and as always, I'm with Douglas Skipworth. How are you?
Doing great.
Good, man. Good. We're bringing you this podcast to give you the boots on the ground knowledge to help you be a successful real estate investor here in Memphis. You'll see our info below there. If you have any questions, shoot me a quick email. I like to tell you guys that I help buyers and sellers every day. If you're buying investment deals, if you're selling investment deals here in Memphis, send me an email, dean@CrestCore.com, and I can help you with that. Before we get started, the Zoom calls that I've started have really, for whatever reason, that is super interesting to our client base. Man. We almost filled up the first room on the first call.
That's awesome.
We had a lot, I think almost 40 or 50 yesterday. Anyway, a lot of people have come into it. Tuesdays are for my new investors. I'm going to talk elementary beginner type information that you definitely need. And then Thursdays tomorrow at 2:00 Central Time is going to be a little bit more for seasoned investors. So shoot me an email. I'll get you the passcode to that.
Awesome.
Today, let's dive right into this. Who should you buy an investment deal from? You know, we often, there's so many sources. There's so many ways to buy. We talk about how you should buy. And we talk about where, and we talk about all the other parts that go with it. But you know, we haven't really taken a deep dive into who you should buy it from.
Yeah.
And things to look out no matter who that who is.
Right. Yeah.
Whoever the who is.
Right. Yes.
So the first thing that comes to mind is who.
Okay.
What's the first person that comes to mind when you're buying a house from? You're going to buy them from
I'm going to use an agent.
You're going to use an agent
to help me buy. I mean, that's when I ran back the tape in my mind, pushed rewind.
Yeah.
I used an agent, Sheila Smith.
Yeah, was your first one?
Yes, because I was like, I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
How am I going to learn this? I'm going to use an agent who specializes in investment properties to help me make offers, walk me through the process, do my inspection, help me with my lender, get my first deal closed, get my second deal. And so Sheila helped me. And unfortunately, she's passed away. God rest her soul. She was awesome. Yeah. But she coached me. She coached other people.
Yeah.
You know, you worked with Sheila afterward.
Yep.
She knew her stuff.
And helped you get started and get going. I have a lot of people that will call me and, hey, I bought this house from an individual, from this or from that. And I really, really, really want to encourage everyone to listen. I don't really care if you're buying in Memphis or where you're buying. Get with a local real estate agent. A specialist, even. I mean, you don't have surgery on your elbow and go to a cardiologist. No. I mean, you go to an ortho doctor and you go to the right one. So like, it's a little bit further than just a real estate agent, right? Like, I think you need to. I mean, you
100%.
Right? You could get on Zillow and go, "Hey, I'm looking for a house in Germantown," and then you're going to get 10 agents in Germantown, and any 10 of them are probably have enough experience to carry you through that home buying process. Your owner occupant home that you're going to live in, right? You generally can find somebody that knows what they're doing and help you do that. Now, you can't with this. No. You can find an agent that'll write up a contract for you and take the commission on it. But there's a distinct difference in a general residential real estate agent and an investor specialist agent. Now, there's no certification or anything, but when you focus on just this product, it kind of makes you that expert in that product. And the same goes for those agents that are focused on residential properties in their little areas and their nooks. They're professionals and specialists in that area.
Yes.
So what I would encourage you to do, I've given a little background on myself, and this is not necessarily a toot your own horn podcast today, but when I first, I want to tell everybody about this difference that I had. When I started selling this product with in 2011.
Right. Yep.
I sold them up till 2015 without buying any. Okay, for 4 years.
Yeah.
And I was an honest agent.
Because you were a general agent.
General real estate agent coming into this world.
Having sold a lot of owner-occupant property.
A ton of them. And then now I'm entering into this world. And the first year was rough. I had to learn everything. Second year, gaining some traction. Third year, got really good at it. And I'm now, I feel like I know my product.
Yes.
And I know the high-level areas. To send my clients. Okay. And
you can talk the talk.
I can talk the talk. However, I began to catch myself the deeper I got with clients. Now we're working on the fourth house and maybe we're helping them buy the fifth one. I found out that my conversations were beginning to stall out. I wasn't
because you maybe couldn't walk the walk.
Because I couldn't walk the walk. I could talk it, but I hadn't experienced it. So in 2015, I began to buy them, right? And we've talked about all this.
Absolutely.
So after I had 3, 4, 5 of these, my conversations began to quickly change. It no longer was I'm selling a product. We're talking about a partnership and a way to invest and how I can guide that client.
Yeah. That's good.
And the conversation began to change. I could start sharing mistakes.
Yes.
We've shared those on a podcast. We've made plenty of them.
Battlefield.
39, 34 Battlefield. You can go look it up. Gosh. But we began to share mistakes and talk about how to avoid problems. So then my conversations changed from, hey, thanks for the guide, the tour guide. Now it became, hey, partner, put my arm around you. Appreciate. When are we going to go get another one? I just began to share insights that I wasn't able to share. So my point to telling that crazy story is go with an agent that not only specializes in investment properties. Why don't you make sure they own several? And I don't mean 2. I mean over 10, over 15. Make sure they have that experience to carry you.
And I go, I try and model things in my life. You model people who are experts, right? And what's Warren Buffett always say? He's a better investor because he's a businessman.
That's right.
But he's a better businessman because he's an investor. And that's exactly what you're saying. You're a better investor because you're an agent, but you're a better agent because you're an investor. That's the message here. And when you're out there, that's what you're looking for. The experienced agent. I like to boil it down to that because there are. It's not you saying this is not teacher and home. There are other agents out there. Yeah, they're not a lot, but you want to vet them and find the ones who meet it. So this isn't. This is all like I always do the 3 C's when I'm looking for things. I'm looking for character, competence, which we just talked a lot about, and chemistry. Yeah. So it's like, hey, does this person high character, the person I want to deal with, do they know their stuff? That's what you're talking about. Yep. And then can I work with them? Yep. Do we click? Are we going to be able to see eye to eye on that? So
that's a great way to look at talking to any agent. I mean, like no matter what, that's a great piece of advice for buying any house. I mean, they need to know what they're talking about. Because by the way, I have a Tennessee license, right? I can go sell houses anywhere in this state. Legally, I can go up and wherever and sell you a house. I have no idea what's going on there in Maryville, for example. I have no clue. There makes no sense to use me, although I have a license, right? So don't use the same thing here in Memphis. Just because they're an agent and they live and focus in Memphis doesn't mean that you should necessarily use them, right?
No, I mean, I told you I used a lot for Sheila initially, and have used you almost exclusively whenever, like nowadays, if I sell something, you're listening. You got one listed right now. Yeah. And what happened when I went to sell, I had a commercial property I needed to sell. What's the first thing you said? I'm not your guy.
Yeah.
So you recommended me to another agent who specializes in commercial property. Yeah. He got it listed. Awesome. Doing a great job.
Same thing with my residential clients. I've been in this 21 years. I have people come up to me and say, hey, can you help me and my husband or my wife find a home? No.
Introduce them to Alyssa.
The first thing I do is send them to Alyssa and let Alyssa take care of them, because I can do that. I can get in the car and set appointments and go show them to you, but that's not what I specialize in.
Right on.
And I'm not going to be able to give you the service, the customer service that Alyssa could.
Right. And that they deserve. So and agree. And just to the point we've talked before, that they're non-agents.
Yep.
They're agents, and then they're realtors.
That's right. So knowing the difference is, knowing the difference is all you need to know.
And knowing is all about and different. G.I. Joe.
That's it.
knowing is half the battle, or
that's
whatever
what it was. They call me G.I. Joe. All right. So who else should you buy? The most common one is your agent, but who else should you buy an investment deal from, or who could you buy one from? Mr. Douglas.
Hey, with that, I had to check my notes. There is one last thing I want to say about working with an agent. Yeah. Is that agents, because we briefly said they're non-agents, they're agents, and then they're realtors. And realtors are part of the National Association of Realtors. They have a code of ethics, and that they represent, as any agent represents a client, and that's their duty is to the client. Yes. Not to themselves. That's what agency. There's agency law, and like what that concept means is that the agent represents the client. They don't represent themselves. And it pains me, Dean, that at times you've had to recommend agents to other property management companies.
Yeah.
Because that's your duty.
Yeah.
Your duty is to the client, and that's what an agent. So I think that's a good segue into where we're going.
Yeah.
And that is, you could buy it from a wholesaler.
Yeah.
But a wholesaler is not on your side like an agent is. A wholesaler is on the wholesaler side. An agent is on your side.
Yeah. 100%. And the difference, we have a fiduciary responsibility to the client. I've got a code of ethics I have to abide by.
Yes.
The next kind of most popular one here is the wholesaler. And there is no governing body. There is no code of ethics, no licensing, no nothing.
Nope.
If you can go convince a seller who owns a property to get under contract with you on a one-page piece of paper, you're a wholesaler now.
That's right.
Congratulations. And you assign this to someone else. Congratulations. You're now a wholesaler.
To your point, if you can put a property under contract.
Yeah.
And then you can sell that contract.
You're a wholesaler. Congratulations.
Correct.
That's your first
Whatever
deal. You're now a
like.
wholesaler. Like the difference with agents is there's classes and continuing education and the code of ethics thing we have to continue to do every 2 years. And
Absolutely.
I've done it 10 times. So,
that's right.
I mean, you have to continue to do that. So there is that distinct difference, right?
Yeah.
Now,
that's not to say you can't both buy from a wholesaler.
No. And for my wholesalers that are watching,
yeah,
we love you. This has nothing to do with the wholesale industry and talking negatively about that. Are there negative things about some wholesalers, and are there wholesalers that are better than others? 100%. But there's also agents where there's agents that are better than others.
Yeah.
And so I don't want the wholesaler community because those guys and gals will listen to this show. We love them, and I work with them every day. But I am here to tell you that in that pool of wholesalers swims sharks and incompetent ones. That's the worst. Anyone that you can find you deal with, if they're morally not on the same ground with you and they're incompetent, you have a problem. You're going to have a problem, period. You might skate by the first one, but you've got there's a moral compass and a knowledge compass that I don't believe every single wholesaler has. Some do. I've got some guys, I'm thinking of them right now, shoot me straight as an arrow. Never one
as high
single
character
time
as they come
have I had an issue with anything they've told me, right?
That's right.
I'm also thinking of some right now where if they sent me a house today, I'd run for the hills because I know for a fact there's something wrong. There's a title issue. He's not telling me or she's not telling me the whole truth. Or there's, hey Dean, there's only $5,000 in rehab. I've had a contractor go through there and then we lock it up and get out there and it's $25,000. So like I get that a lot. Yep. And I think part of what I ask the buyer base to do is to trust me to sift through that. Right? When I present you guys a property and it's an off-market deal, it's not from one of these wholesalers that I don't work with, right? Know that when I'm sending you that property, it's from someone that I've worked with prior and I have vetted, and we at least know from everything we know is above board. So
and have you ever bought from a wholesaler?
Are you kidding?
Yeah. So it's not a bad thing to buy from a wholesaler.
No, that's not just at all what I'm saying. Eyes wide open. If you want me to vet it, the process, and go through it, I'll do that for you. That's part of what
do that? Can agents represent buyers who buy from wholesalers?
If the buyer is willing to pay their commission, yes. Yeah. There is no, that's the thing about this is there is no, so if I have a wholesaler here is what you're saying, and he sends me a house, 123 Main Street, and I market that house out there and another agent comes in with their buyer and wants to buy it. Is that what you're asking me?
Or even you representing that.
No, other buyers come to
buyer.
Me. Yes, absolutely. That, because I don't have any.
Are you sending out a house for a wholesaler?
Yeah.
You can be it doesn't have to be a investor going directly to a wholesaler.
No.
You can play a part in that.
110%. I can make sure that things are going well and above board. And I do it every day, every month.
Good. That's
our title companies help. Our Will Griffin and Griffin, Clift, Everton, Maschmeyer, and local title make sure that we are in the right spot. Those are people that we trust. So yes, I work with those wholesalers all the time.
Yeah.
So again, not a bad thing to buy from a wholesaler. Just eyes wide open. Understand that you need to, trust but verify every single thing.
Yes. And again, I guess I would say kind of to compare and contrast with the agents and the wholesalers, or if kind of like you had talked about, like just as, hey, how much experience, how much do they own themselves? What are they doing in this business? Because the people who have been in this business a long time, who've got the reputation, who everybody works with, they're in this for a relationship, long-term. They're not in this for a one-time transaction.
No.
And so I would just, as word of caution, be leery of the person who is in it for a one-time transaction, who is not thinking down the road. How do I build a relationship? How do we do business? How do we continue to do business together?
If that wholesaler is not talking to you about how we can do the next deal, you got a problem. There's something wrong, because
Correct.
they know they're not going to get the next deal.
Correct.
Here's another thing.
Well said.
When you're dealing with a wholesale community as well, a red flag, not always something you can't do, but a red flag. If you're working directly with a wholesaler and they're demanding you close with their title company, red flag. There's a reason why they want you to close there. They have a relationship with that title company, and maybe that title company is a little loose
sloppy.
on their a little sloppy, maybe intentionally sloppy.
Oh, there you go.
Okay,
Yeah.
maybe intentionally
loose.
sloppy, and
Yeah.
you're going to get caught in a title issue situation. You always want to use your own title company, always. Unless now, if the wholesaler's at the same place where you agree to go because you already know them, fine.
Right.
That's rare. They're going to go to their people. They're going to get the title work set and pulled. And how they're going to sell it to you is they're going to say, hey, I'll pay your closing costs.
Correct. Or they'll do it for a discount.
They'll do it for half off or whatever. And you're going to think, oh, that's a great way to save money. No, these are part of the reasons why you need to communicate with me, or communicate with an agent, or communicate with somebody who can give you a little bit of guidance with these, guys and gals. And not everyone's going to put you in that situation, right?
Right.
But these are red flags and things that I vet before I send these houses out. So just be cautious, like with agents. Be cautious of what agent you're hiring to represent you. Be cautious of what wholesaler that you choose to work with, right?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So no, I was just going back to the
unpack.
I was just kind of. I was zooming out real quick. Zooming out, right, to talk about your Zoom calls, right? Like Tuesday is all about the newcomer and getting up to speed, whether it's buying the 2 foundational houses like we talked about, or just getting started.
Yep.
And then you get over here on Thursday and talk about how you're dealing with wholesalers.
Yeah.
I would imagine you don't buy anyway.
I bet it's half. Are you wondering how many?
No, I'm just thinking of how many first-time people buy from a wholesaler.
If it's from me, they will, but I don't ever get anybody that says, hey, I'm already locked into my first deal with a wholesaler myself.
So anyway, all that to say is like, hey, you're going to get a lot of learning on this beginner stuff, and then you're going to get into the intermediate and expert as you're working with this through your Zoom calls.
Yes. So, and then all those will lead, and we'll talk about this even tomorrow if you want to a little bit more. If you guys have questions about anything we've talked about today, send me that email and we'll talk about it tomorrow on the Zoom. But the other person, or the other way,
you just talked about it,
right? Right to a direct individual. You can buy private. You can buy directly from a bank. I know you've done that before. Tons. I'm waiting on that opportunity. Unfortunately, I don't see it coming, but that's all right. I don't either. I've talked to a few guys. Like I was kind of had my fingers crossed that maybe we would see some stuff coming. I don't know that it's going to happen like that. We might get some investors that have mismanaged, but we'll see. But banks, insurance agents, another private investor, one-on-one.
FSBO kind of thing.
FSBO. I'm not going to sit here and say I have a monster problem with that. If you feel confident and comfortable in the sales process to negotiate a deal directly with someone and not miss anything, I guess I could see that. I don't have any problem with it, but I do this every day. If this is not something that you do every day, I don't know that I'd recommend it.
And you can always get an agent involved.
And you can always get an agent involved
to represent you on the side. If you're willing to pay for it, sometimes the seller will pay for it. Going direct to a seller, there's nothing wrong with it. No. Again, you just want to have your eyes wide open. You want to have some guidance. You want to have some advice, some type of advisor or somebody in an advisory role to help bounce some ideas, just some cautions.
You need it. I know. Yeah. I try to relate a lot of things to sports because that's just one thing that we talk about all the time. But it's like, there's no team without a coach. You know what I mean? It's like you're building a team here.
Yes.
We've talked about that specifically here with all your vendor partners. You're building a team. Why not let me help coach you. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yes.
I've been coaching these teams for 20 years. Why not let somebody guide you?
Hey,
I
man,
even discount for these, by the way. Like, so a lot of people say, well, if I'm dealing directly with a seller, no one wants to pay the agent. I'll work with you on a fee for that, to vet you on your side, to help you stay in the clear. Believe me, whatever little fee you would pay me to keep you clear is going to be well worth it if you get into a situation and you've messed up a contract, or you got a title issue, or you got something else going on because you weren't aware.
And that's what I was gonna say. It's like, you do a lot. You do this podcast, you do calls, you do Zoom calls now, you do all kinds of things. The only way you earn money is through commissions.
Period.
So you do a lot for, I don't want to say for free. I don't want to send the wrong message. But you help a lot of people.
Yes.
And so helping them through this process, giving advice and walking hand in hand.
You know where I got that? It's funny that you say that, because I don't look at it as like what you've said, like giving out free information. I just feel like if I have something to share that's relative, then let's share it. And I've felt like when I've done general real estate, I've just treated other clients like I've wanted to be treated. It's just the golden rule. That is as basic as that for me.
Right.
And the other investor on the other side, I don't get into the cheesy schmoozy, let's go buy this great house. That's not what this is. That's kind of another thing why I'm telling you need to get with the right agent, because that's not what this is. We don't walk the home and talk about how wonderful the hardwood floors are.
Right. That's not the investor business.
No.
And we got something coming up on that.
So I just want to make sure that, that message that you're sending is right. We do provide a ton of content, and the reason why we do is because we reach a big audience. We close 20 deals a month here. I'm not shy about how big our brokerage is and how well it runs, but we do have these channels of information that I think if I know it, I should share it, right?
That is right. People can benefit.
Most of the stuff we're sharing here is to help you, and ultimately, I've always felt that if I continue to do that, well, people will buy houses.
Yeah,
sure enough, that's how it goes. All right, real quick before we end, I want to do some do's and don'ts.
Yep.
Okay. One of the don'ts that I'll say, and I'll let you go to 2 and 3. But never sign. Never. You ready for this? And this sounds backwards for me to say.
I got this question last week.
Do not sign an exclusive buyer's agency agreement with another real estate agent here in town. And here's why. If you sign that exclusive buyer's agency agreement, most agents put 6 months on there. If you buy a home in the city through a real estate agent and there's commission paid, they're due the commission. Period. There's no way you should limit yourself to one property source. One source to get properties? You mean to tell me I got one? No, here's what we do. The state of Tennessee Real Estate Commission requires us to sign one of those, but it's not required until we write a contract. So what I do is when we write a contract for 123 Main Street, at the very bottom of that exclusive buyer's agency agreement, there's a special stipulation section. We write in there, this addendum only applies to 123 Main Street. As long as we're dealing with 123 Main Street, I'm going to be your legal agent. The second that we're no longer dealing with that, you're open to do anything and everything you want. And even while in the middle of that, because I say it's only applicable to 123 Main Street, you can simultaneously buy another house with another agent, and I'm not due a commission.
Love it.
It's the right thing to do for the client.
Why? I got this question from somebody reached out to me and said, hey, my agent is asking me to sign an exclusive buyer rep agreement. Should I do that? I said, short answer, no. So what would you say? Why would an agent ask him to do that?
They teach agents to do that to protect their business for themselves. It's a selfish act. They're taught. We are all taught. I remember the classes. We are all taught to protect our business, right? It comes across to me as ultra lazy.
It doesn't seem like it. It seems like it rubs against what we talked about earlier of the fiduciary duty.
This has nothing to do with it's only a negative for them.
That's why I don't like it. And I'll tell you one thing, because you and I both, I started as an investor before I became an agent. You were an agent before you became an investor, but we've both done both. But being an investor, you're like, I would never want that for me.
No.
Why would I ever want to put somebody in that position as an investor? I would never sign one.
As an investor, I would never want one property source.
No.
I want them all throw me all the houses. Throw me everything that you can see me. And any agent that does, I'm not saying they're malicious, but what I am saying is they're not willing to prove their worth. I'm willing to prove that.
And to me, it makes it question: do they really know what they're doing in this space, the investment property space?
Yeah, the answer is no.
That's what I'm thinking.
The answer is no, because my colleagues that do this, they don't do it either.
But I tell you who does is the owner occupant agent who is in the middle of a recession for homeowner occupants.
They're protecting their business.
And they're trying to drum up some business some way, somehow.
Like they've been taught, they're protecting their business. Yeah. And let me defend them for 10 seconds. If they're, because I don't want to make this, like, I've been an agent a long time and I've done both sides. So I don't want to make it seem like every one of those is having them sign it is a crook and doing the wrong thing, because that's not the case. If they put you in, here's the thing. If they put you in their car and they're driving you around and you're seeing 15 and 20 houses and they got multiple days and gas and meals, maybe they bought you lunch, or maybe this is an ordeal, I understand why they want to have that signed. That's a different arena, though. That's a completely different arena. We're not even in the same arena playing a different game. We're in a completely different arena, right? And I kind of get that. They want to make sure that if they're going to put this time and effort into it, that they've got you kind of locked up. Over here, though, yes, we're not driving around and showing houses and doing things. This is a little bit of what I need to earn your business. And that's kind of where I come at it, where I feel like I don't need you to sign these. I don't care anything about it. I think what I earn my value is when I send you that property, it's a good home. I sourced it for you, and then I'm going to help guide you through your business. So I think you'll stick with me. That's why I've passed those up. So don't sign those. Call. Never fully waive an inspection contingency period unless you have fully viewed and inspected the home. We're getting that now. We're getting I've got listings. I got a seller right now. He wants no inspection contingencies, but they're all vacant.
Okay, sure.
So
go check them out.
The only way that I suggest do that is if you have the full ability to go in and inspect the property
before you make an offer.
Before you make an offer in what you're looking at. But we're getting a lot of that now. What's another one?
Yeah, that's good. I mean, I've waived it before, but it's because I knew what I was getting.
You knew what you were getting.
You only waive it if you know and are willing to accept whatever you get.
That's whatever the thing. You get. If it's a great deal. If it's a steal, maybe you waive it. What's the worst? You got some foundation
There were steals.
Issues?
10, 15 years ago, there were steals. So you're like, it doesn't matter. I will buy it sight unseen.
Yeah. So what's number 3 here? What's another one?
Title.
Yeah.
Always. You mentioned that about Will and local. Will Griffin, local title. Use a reputable title company.
There are title companies in Memphis that are not reputable. They're not. And I'll get, obviously, one-on-one, I'll fill you more in. But there are title companies in Memphis that are not reputable, that have issues with title claims and fraud and the other stuff. And I'm just telling you to be careful.
Just be careful.
And by the way, that's not just Memphis. These title companies are everywhere. So just be careful of who you're choosing to close with. Follow up on property recording. That's a big thing that a lot of investors do not do. Is follow up after the closing with the Shelby County Tax Assessor's Office to make sure that the property has been recorded and it's in your name.
Right. I mean, you should get a loan pack from your title company. You should get an owner's title policy. It's worth it. Buy it. It's cheap. It's good insurance. And then, to your point, you can go to the Shelby County Assessor's website, look up your property address and see the digital document. Or you can go to the Shelby County Registrar's Office, look up your property and see all the documents.
Because mistakes happen.
Mistakes happen, but it's all easy. It's all accessible.
You can easily check.
Shelby County for years has been leading as far as public information. Now, that's one reason why Memphis has such a great reputation for investment properties, is because there's a lot of data out there.
That's right.
It's very easy, and the process is clean, and it's very open. It's very transparent, and it's public.
I had one in 21 that I bought that didn't get recorded right, and I caught it.
Good for you.
I mean, it was my house, right. But I mean, if I was go to try to sell it, it's not recorded right. It would delay everything, and so I made sure that it was recorded right. Last one is use a property manager. The one thing, we have a good one here. There's other good ones in the city, but we have a good one here. A lot of people are asking me now, because the numbers are getting tighter, can I manage this myself? No. The answer is no. Unless it's a $1,500 plus $2,000 rental somewhere that is in a good suburban area and it's just mailbox money. But even then, that's something to keep up with.
I told you that I didn't stand my ground. Originally, my first investment property with Sheila.
Yeah.
I was researching and had talked to some property managers, and somebody gave a winsome, compelling argument to self-manage. And so I started self-management, and I got out of that years later into, professional third-party management.
Yeah.
But I regret self-managing. I regret self-managing.
Don't do it. And then we can dive into that later. But look, I thought today's show or podcast, I think is a little bit, I think it's meaty. I think there's a lot of meat on the bones here, because I feel like a lot of this information is information that you might not have your wholesaler or other agent tell you. This is stuff that I believe that with our experience,
you kind of open the kimono a little bit to talk about some of
these things and the ways that we run our business here. So if you have any questions on anything we talked about, Dean@CrestCore.com. Zoom call tomorrow at 2:00 Central Time. If you missed that, we record them. Anything else that I could do to help you guys buy and sell, let me know. Okay, you got anything else to add today? All right, great show. We'll see you next time.